Hi, I am IT PhD and today we will talk about main thing in programming. It's searching for errors. When you just start learning coding, you mainly, like first half of the year, you learn how to write code. So it's like you learn to implement functional. Then another half of a year you learn how to structure your code, how to make good architecture. Because when you can write anything, you could like implement any feature. If you do not understand proper way of building your app, you will make a lot of mistakes. And finally, what's the art of coding, the art of programming? It's not about writing the code, it's not about architecture, though it's also an art. But the most important thing is catching bugs. Most important thing is searching for errors. And actually, it's quite easy to fix error. It's very easy to fix bug. The hardest thing in coding is to find it, to locate it, to understand where the problem. And today I want to share with you some very basic, easy code examples and to show approaches which you might want to use. So when you are a newbie, when you're a new player or new programmer, you can, for example, this example from like multiplayer game. So you could equip different weapon in your hand. You could equip sword, axe, mace, some bow, or you could be unarmed. And it's a very simple switch operator which we use for it. So if in our hand we have sword, we increase sword skill upon blow. If some bow or crossbow, like archery. So this is very simple switch statement, and most of new programmers, they do something like this, and it's kind of looks all right. Yeah, we kind of have all different equipment which we have in our game. So what wrong here? But actually, when you get a bit more experience, you would start thinking, why should I use separate case for unarmed? You could think, okay, let's use default operator, which is also kind of very useful, and like beginner, not a newbie anymore, but beginner, he would use a lot of defaults to catch some like the rest. So you have your switch statement and all the rest. It's let's say it's unarmed. Okay, some beginners, they do it, and this is you meet such code in hundreds and thousands projects. So when you have some medium experience, what you would do? You would have separate default case for finding some unknown cases. So here we take our first case, our first way, how newbie do it, and we have empty string for unarmed skill. And what we add here, we add default. And in default, we kind of look for everything else which could go here, because something could go wrong. Player could get a weapon of unknown kind, so it can be a bug. So you could make some bad things in your code, and this way at least we would get information about it. So you as developer, you would have in your logs, you would see unknown skill, and you might want to kind of look for through your logs from time to time and find something like this. More experienced people, what they do, there are different approaches to talk about them, like automatic testing. But yeah, more kind of useful on development environment approach is to catch, if you are sure that there will be only like 5 skills and nothing else, you could throw fatal error, so panic error. It will stop your code from operating. Of course, on production systems, you might want to avoid it and use logging to special file, which also would cause an alarm, but it might continue, your service might continue work. But for the testing environment especially, or if you're in small, it's like a small or medium project, or you're a solo developer, you make startup, such way it's very useful because you would notice everything at once. And instead of just writing unknown error, you say in which function it happened, and you say, okay, so you would have better error messages. So you would see what happened, what come here unknown. And this is all right, throwing these fatal errors, though actually it's better to shoot down gracefully, because like when you, this is by the way Go language. Yeah, it's in all languages it's kind of close to this. It's kind of the same everywhere we have switch or ifs. We should verify them for unknown qualities. So for unknown values. So here we throw fatal. Fatal, it means that program will stop. So it wouldn't even like save. So for example, if on your server, like for example, you make online game and players playing and you make fatal stop, nothing will save, which is quite a bad thing. So you want to make not fatal, not panic, but you would want to make graceful shutdown. So you would want to write your own function, which will dump state. So we wouldn't only get this message in logs, but we also would get like full data set of this player or this entity which caused our panic. And you would get this dump, and you would then gracefully save state of your database, of your server, and then you could stop it to crash it. Or yeah, if it's production, it's better to log it, of course, right? So it's kind of, this is how you should do. It's a good thing to do, because this way you would catch a lot of bugs. And if you just write code like this, and a lot of people, they think that they should write code which by default it's like rightful, by default it's proper. It's very bad approach. Do not do it, because you should always be ready that there will be bugs, and there will be bugs always. So you should put these panics, this paranoia, you could say, paranoia checks everywhere. Your code should have a lot of this stuff. It's called like manual testing. Of course, there are also automated tests. So there are different approach when you could push error right test. But in complex system where a lot of modulars, where you have big code base, you can't only use automated tests. So you always need to check for such unknown values. It will save you a lot of headache. So better, of course, to combine our automatic test together with manual testing. So with this approach, you would reduce the most hardest thing in coding. You would search for errors, like it will take dozens less amount of time. It's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much. Subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see your comments. Have a good day. Bye bye.